Hey guys, it's Nancy, the Cozy Coastal Gamer, and I am building Zoe's house for the Dynamic Worlds Challenge Sulani Castaways. We just finished our park and now it's time to work on her house. And I wanted it to be a tiny home so that it felt like a little hut that the conservationist career person lived in. And I had a really hard time getting the roof right. At first, I wanted to have a A-frame house because I did some research and it just seemed like a good design, but it just didn't work out. So I'm trying to find the right siding right now. I went through so many different iterations of siding, and I think I ended up on a tealy color. And then I'm working on the bathroom. I just did a standard 3 tile bathroom, like a usual tiny house. And it took a little while to get the right trim and everything. Just the roof was it was tough. It was tough for me. And then I wanted it to be off the grid, so I started off with these candelabras, the chandeliers from Horse Ranch. I ended up deleting them later on because I realized I added solar panels. Then I'm working on the kitchen, which I ended up thinking it was a pretty big kitchen in the living room, just a small little living room. And I ended up putting in that tiny living stereo TV combo thing, and then the desk so that they can work on reports. I know the other branch of the career you can work on, or if you work from home, you can do stuff on the computer. So they have a computer to write down all their research. And then just finishing up the kitchen, getting some windows. And I wanted the bedroom to be open, like that's a breezeway for them to get out of the heat. And I'm just adding some side tables, and then I wanted it to be off the grid. So for off the grid lots, I like to have the clothesline for laundry. What pack is that? The laundry day, and I'm remembering to write to. I'm remembering to paint the ceiling. I never remember to paint the ceiling because I play on console and I play with a controller on console. So I always forget to um, paint the ceiling. And then just getting a mailbox. I like the werewolves mailbox for off the grid lots too. Just something about it. And then just moving things around, trying to figure out where I actually want the laundry. And then I ended up adding a staircase in the back. And that is when I realized the roof line is not going to work. It's probably going to happen in a little bit, but it just didn't work. So then I'm just dialing in the front porch and then fixing all the lights because I realized I added solar panels, so I'm going to have to I wanted the actual lights, put the power lights. Um then adding some artwork on the wall, trying to find the right piece. I ended up using the underwater collection. I know Zoe didn't do the collection, but I figured once I'm in the house, it's okay to do the debug, the debug stuff, and then finding the right curtains. I liked these curtains from Island Living. I tried to do as much as I could from Island Living, but I did end up adding a few things here and there. I mean, quite a few. If you end up looking at the pack list when the build is done, it's not limited pack for by any means, but I did my best to make it look like it fit in, and just cluttering up the desk right now, trying to find things that made sense. I put a water bottle, I figured notebook to put notes down, and then I made them left-handed because I'm left-handed, and yeah, I put it left-handed. I tried to look for more clutter for the desk, but I just didn't really find anything. So, oh yeah, and I ended up putting a umbrella on the back and the side, and then cluttering up the kitchen. But I did find some keys from the Everyday Clutter kit that I thought would work on the desk. So I had to go back to the desk, and then I ended up putting the salt and pepper shaker in between the two counters, which was a little tricky. I had to put the little lamppost trick thing, and then you line it up that way. This is really hard. This is really hard to do a voiceover. So I just get so distracted by how many things are on the screen. So yeah, okay, here we go. I added a sink. I like the new kitchen sink from what is the name of that kitchen clutter kit. And then I'm trying to find the wood blocks. Those are hard for me to find. I have to search for them every single time. So yeah, if you go into the search for those blocks, you just type in block and then they show up. So that works out. And then I'm putting the toilet paper roll, and then putting the rest of the clutter, the soap and the towels. And I ended up using the tiny living back, the toilet seat back, which it's one of my favorites. I use it a lot, and it's just everything right there. I didn't want to put the robe on the door, so I ended up putting it at the side, which is right next to the toilet. So, is that the best place to put it? Not really. And then I found the sleek bathroom soap shower kit, and I ended up trying to clutter. Oh yeah, I'm trying to clutter the on top of the fridge. And if you take a dream home decorator box, then you can use that for big clutter items, like how PC players use that CC shelf. And then I'm trying to add more, but everything I wanted to put on the fridge ended up slotting on the floor, so I just gave up and I said we're just doing the one. And that's when I realized that the roof didn't work, so I had to lower the roof, which was a little bit of a pain, because then I had to lower the roof, redo all the windows. And I will say this build took me multiple days, and if it's going too fast, I'm sorry. I'll figure out a better way to do it later. Trying to test all the lights. Oh yeah, and then I ended up putting, instead of a dresser, I put suitcases, because I figured this would be a temporary place for them to live, like if they're staying a couple weeks at a time, so they can do their research, then go back home, then do the research and go back home. And I'm cluttering up the side tables, which I'm using the plant from also the sleek bathroom kit, I believe. I really like that plant. And I put some papers on the end table to make it look like that's where they sit on the bed sometimes when they do their research. And I wanted to put a notebook, but it didn't work out. And then when I saw this phone from the Future's Past event, or whatever that was called, the most recent one, I saw that and I was like, yes, I have to put this down. Because it seemed like it made sense to have a landline, because you don't need power for landlines. And then I'm trying to figure out everything I wanted to put outside. The outside was actually easier for me than the inside. I don't know why. I usually have a hard time, but the only time, the only thing I had a really hard time with on the outside was figuring out what to do with the terrain, if I wanted terrain paint or if I wanted just the nice empty land. So I'm trying to figure out what I want outside, and I'm going through all the sculptures. And I was just double checking if there's anything else I wanted outside, and I ended up liking with what I had. I ended up putting 2 planter boxes in the back, and I moved the clothesline. And the terrain didn't really start coming together until I started actually manipulating the terrain, and that's when I started seeing the vision of what I wanted to do. So I'm moving everything around, and I wanted it to be like stepped. So I did 3 sections of different levels of terrain. I did one on the side, or each side of the house, and then one on the where the fire pit ends up going out right there. So I ended up putting the fire pit and the table over there. And then now I'm going through debug and finding all the plants and rocks that I like that aren't available via the terrain decorations. And I found these cats and dogs rocks. And the cats and dogs rocks are really good for terrain if you have a hill and you want it to like snap to the hill. So I thought I would do these, and I did a lot. I did a lot with these, but then in the end, after I put it down, I looked at it the next day, and I just didn't like it. So I ended up scrapping that, and then moving on to the island living debug rocks. I figured out, I tried at first to make them work, but then I couldn't figure it out, so I needed to sleep on it. So when I go, because debug on console is a little bit tricky, I usually stack things. I'll make a stack of what debug I like, and then I will just grab from the stack so I don't have to go into debug again. And that's what I ended up doing with a lot of these plants. So you'll see a bunch of stacks of plants. And then I tried to make this arch rock work. I tried to use it in the park, but it didn't work because they wouldn't do they couldn't do anything inside the rock. So I ended up scrapping it in the park, but I really liked it. So I tried to make it work here, but I just didn't like how it looked in the terrain. So here I am trying to do the rocks again with the cats and dogs, but in the end I didn't like how it looked. I didn't like that it bugged me that the rock was a different color. So I scrapped that. And just a random tip, if you are on console and you want to search for debug, you know how PC players, they always say to search for debug in the search bar? For console, you search a blank search. So when you type in the show hidden objects, bb.show hidden objects, bb.live edit objects, and then you go to the search bar and you do a blank search. And if you do the up arrow, so you go to the bottom of the screen, that's all the debug on the bottom of the screen. And that's how you do debug. And if you want me to do a video about that, leave a comment and I can do that for you guys. So then we're just wrapping up the outside landscaping. I wanted to see if I could put some stuff in the garden planters, but then I decided to leave it blank. And as you can see, I changed all of the rocks off camera. I just didn't want to have you guys see that again, but I thought if you saw the struggle, maybe it would help you guys or something. Like not give up if you guys are struggling. Just leveling out the terrain, making sure it's how I wanted it. And these debug canopies, oh my gosh, They are the bane of my existence. I I tried to make them work in the park, and I put out like 10 of them. It was so many. And I had them covering everything in the park, and I mentioned this in my park tour video. Then I play tested it, and they didn't work at all. So I replaced them, and I thought maybe I could get them to work because I tried it with baby.moveobjects off, and it was green. So I was like, okay, it's green, it might work. And yeah, I play tested it, they didn't work. So I'm right now in the video, I am just finalizing the plants and the rocks, seeing if there's anything else, and just making sure that the greenery looks good. I tried adding some plants. These are sized down, and I thought maybe if I sized them down, it would look like moss growing on the rocks. So, is it successful? I don't know. And these begonias, I love the begonias. I wanted to do the purple ones because those are my favorite, but it didn't work with the landscape, the surrounding landscape. So, getting some plants, it's really tricky for placing plants on hills. So I'm trying to find, but there's some base game ones that snap to the hills, just like the cats and dogs rock snaps to the hills really well. And I'm trying to find it. This isn't one that I liked, but I thought maybe I could try it somewhere else. Oh, that's the one. That's the one that snaps really well to hills. But it didn't work out on the place I was looking for, but it worked out under the stairs here. So I merged it with the, what's it called? Nipuka? That one. I placed it with that one, and it added some height. So that was good. And then I'm getting all the colors ready. And now I'm going to look for some terrain paint to use. I put a pathway to the front. I tried putting a path to all of the other locations, but I didn't really like how it looked. This lot is really weird because it's so dark in its terrain. The terrain is, it's that dark brown, and it's the only lot in the whole game that's like that. And I just found it really, really weird. And I didn't really know what to do for the terrain paint. So I ended up keeping it as natural as I could, and I put this moss. It's a mixture of moss and dirt around what I put down for the landscaping. So if you can see around the lot, you'll see some moss growing, and I tried to mimic that with what I was doing with this terrain. And I went a little overboard with this one tiny location. So I'm just double checking it, trying to find some more debug stuff, which I don't think I ended up. Oh, I put one plant. I put one little plant just so that it didn't look like the exact same plant on that rock both times. And then now I'm erasing some of the terrain paint because terrain paint can be really tricky. I play Sims with controllers. Like I know you can plug in a PC keyboard and mouse, and I grew up playing with controllers. Like I grew up in Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4 and 5, etc., etc. And I grew up with controllers, so I like the fact that you limit yourself with a small amount of buttons versus a keyboard. I have played on PC before, but I like when you limit yourself, then you can well, for one, it's easier to find the right buttons when you forget. So I like that. And then right now I play tested, and I'm just finalizing the last little final touches. All right, now we're gonna get a tour of the build. So you spawn right here, and then we have seating area, a little yoga mat. She has an outdoor table, picnic table, fire pit, and the telescope all outside. There's water collectors. We have solar panels. We have a little back exit. And then we have a clothesline. When you come in here, no shoes. Then we have a living room with a TV, the tiny living one, the TV and the radio, and the bookshelf all in one. Then we have a computer to do her research. Then we have a bathroom, and the kitchen, and the bedroom. That is the build. I hope you guys like it. I'm gonna upload it to the gallery. Okay, it's on the gallery. So you can find this by using hashtag cozycoastalgamer, or my EA ID is cozycoastalgamer. And I hope you like the build. Thank you. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, give it a like, comment, and subscribe.